Right now, in this chaotic political climate, it is probably the most opportune moment to introduce a specific Daredevil villain. And no, it's not Stiltman, though he 100% needs to make his way into Born Again. Instead, this is a villain that is built upon the foundational theme of misinformation and choking any sense of order, a topic that I could deep dive into for hours, meaning Hollywood writers, who are paid for that, definitely have something to say. And season 2 of Born Again is being filmed right now at time of recording, so this villain won't be a part of the narrative if he wasn't already a part of the script. And even then, I'm fully aware no one with sway at Marvel's television division will have their mind changed by this amateur video essay. But once the thought of this villain appearing in Born Again or the wider MCU began to grow in my head until it was the only thing I could think about, I figured the best course of action would be to present that idea to as many people as possible with this video. So, like, 5 of you. No, I'm kidding, the channel's been growing quite a lot, and I do appreciate you guys. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, your nihilistic optimist, and though he would instantly be compared to the Joker, thanks to the costume, I think adding the Jester to Daredevil's MCU story could be incredible. However, you probably don't even know who the hell the Jester is, because let's be real, even the most popular of Daredevil villains aren't the most well known. And I'll be honest, I had never once heard of the Jester until very recently, so I'll give you the quick spark notes of his history. First appearing in Daredevil number 42 in 1968, Jonathan Powers is just a guy with some skills and a whole lot of greed. Armed with all sorts of childish trinkets that are as deadly as they are hard to take seriously, he is usually used as more of a pawn figure, not having any big plans of his own aside from the short-term goal of robbing the occasional bank. The dozen or so times he's appeared has been to go up against Daredevil, but he's popped up to fight Moon Knight, Jessica Jones plus Spider-Woman, and got his ass handed to him by Superior Spider-Man. And I'm not about to claim the Jester is one of Daredevil's main rogues. Stiltman is, but not the Jester. Seriously, I put Akari or even Mr. Hyde over him, yet the Jester is still one of Daredevil's early villains. In fact, he was introduced 8 years before Bullseye, who in my opinion is Daredevil's most famous antagonist, which by no means should automatically make him a seminal or even memorable character, but the sheer amount of times he's appeared is proof why he could be great. And my first thought upon seeing him was that he was just a pale imitation of the Joker, which I guess he literally was at the time of his creation back in 1968, right before DC's Clown Prince of Crime was retooled to be more of the murdering psychopath we all know by Neil Adams, as he moved away from harmful yet non-violent pranks. And instead of following suit and riding on the Joker's ever-growing popularity with that choice of seriousness, Marvel's counterpart remained relatively the same, one of the big reasons why he hasn't grown. Though I still think he could be an amazing villain. He's also not to be confused with Chuck Lane's Jester, Quality Comics' Golden Age vigilante, or the Jokester, DC's Earth 3 alternate hero version of the Joker. And given how the comic book medium is, brimming with creativity but still clearly not adverse to some plagiarism here and there, I'm willing to bet there are a dozen more clown characters to be found. But that's no reason to throw the Jester into the list of forgotten colorful comic book characters, never to be used again. If anything, him being unknown just gives the MCU and Born Again writers more reason to bring him into live action, allowing for more freedom with whatever kind of interpretation is wanted. So long as the premise behind the character backing up the overall themes are there, nothing else really matters. Though I say that, but I would really enjoy seeing him in the full-on court jester costume. In a somewhat grounded and gritty show like Born Again, I'm not sure if it could work and might even lean towards just looking flat out dumb, but what have I said before about dumb comic book accuracy? Give it to me. Because if everyone commits to the look from minute 1, then I guarantee that, like anything, it could work. But there's also a good chance it would look amazing, and I shouldn't need to prove to you that silly clowns could potentially be the scariest thing in the world, but if you're not convinced the Jester's look can be played dead serious, just look to Pennywise or Terrifier. Not necessarily the performance, but imagine a look similar to that, but just with a Jester hat. I don't know about you, but I suddenly need to see that. I mean, there's also just the whole visual aspect of him being a court jester to Daredevil, but really, as I alluded to before, it's the specific thematic reason why I think the Jester could be perfect for a live-action adaptation, especially for right now, that makes me want to see him so badly. Because since his inception, the Jester's whole thing has been about misinformation. taking many forms and different danger levels. Not all, but 99% of his antics result in petty attacks meant to sow deceit and all-around mistrust. Something more overarching can be written with him, but if it were up to me, he wouldn't be the primary antagonist, as per usual, being a pawn in a bigger narrative. So how would he make his way into Born Again? The most obvious answer is for Kingpin to hire him for the general purpose of spreading deceit, and he's the perfect candidate to discredit Daredevil and all the other superheroes and get people on Fisk's side. And not just that, he is a physical threat as well. He's not paid for as a henchman or muscle of any kind, but he does have some legitimate skills, given he's able to hold his own in a fight against Daredevil, which is infinitely more than most can say for themselves. But overall, he would just be used as a distraction, and considering how grounded Born Again is, featuring superpowers and magical amulets, just not prominently, I'd bet money on the Jester in this show just being a normal dude, kinda like how Leland Owsley was in season 1. In the comics, he's always got crazy Wolverine hair, and even sported owl wings once, yet in the show, he's just some old accountant, which isn't bad. That version of Owsley served the story exactly how he should have, and a full comic book style would have been just too much. So I could 100% see the Jester actually making his way into the Born Again show, but never donning the costume and working in a failed ad agency instead of being a failed actor. And depending on what the story needs, that could be exactly what makes it work. However, bringing the conversation back around to the Jester's look, I still want to see the dumb costume, because Jonathan Powers not only deserves to be given his time in the spotlight, but he also deserves a genuine adaptation, and not something a studio head decides is best. And I may have just said his look was dumb, because it is. Just look at him. But with sincerity and good writing, all things are possible. And to conclude, I'll ask you, would you want to see the Jester make his way into live action? If so, given any option, who would you want to play him? Drop a comment and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.